All right, let's go through our Ratus process to talk about how we would go about developing that mosh pit example that I just demoed there for you. So the obvious question is, how do we know what classes we are supposed to write, and what do we know that how do we know what their characteristics are going to be? The short answer, unfortunately, is experience. That as you do more development, you write more programs, you'll get more experience and you'll know sort of what the classes should be. But we can formalize the process a little bit. So let's start like this. Let's start with the problem statement, which is create an application with a square display window representing a God's eye view of a virtual mosh pit. Fill the pit with several virtual concert goers represented by randomly colored circles. Play some music and have each circle begin moving in some random direction and speed. As the song continues, we'll use the level of the song to influence the speed of the concert goers. As the level, the amplitude, the volume increases, they should move faster. Also, to put the mosh in mosh pit, make sure that the concert goers bounce off each other and off the walls of the display window. All right, so that's our problem statement, and maybe that was given to us by a customer. So our first step would be to find the nouns in the problem statement. So here are our different nouns highlighted. And then after we found the nouns, what we would do is collect things together that are synonyms, like two words that mean the same thing, and then introduce existing classes where possible. So we would identify which ones of those nouns are things that already exist in our programming language and we don't need to write ourselves. So application, dude, sound file, so that's the synonym for the song, direction, speed, level, and walls. Okay? So those would be the nouns then that are important in that problem description. So after that, we would organize those properties into their classes. So some of those are things which are nouns. Some of them are nouns which are actually descriptive nouns describing some other object. So we would try to collapse those things together. So application, right, has things like the amplitude of the song playing, the sound file, the walls. Whereas the dude, that's one of those circles inside the mosh pit, has a speed and a direction. Okay? So then I can start to put those together into a class diagram for the thing that I have to write, right? The one class that I have to write is that dude class. So I would write it like this. I would start with my fields, and again, X and Y represent the direction, delta X, delta Y represent the speed, and these other things are things that I've inferred based on experience. So setting a maximum speed, a size, and a color for the dude, etc. Okay? Then we can start to take a look at the other methods that are inside the class. Okay? And they are listed here. So I have a constructor. I have the method that causes this dude to be drawn. Methods that are accessors to get the location of the dude. Things to handle collisions between this dude and another dude, or this dude and a wall. Setting our maximum speed, and updating, which would be moving our dude from one place to another. Okay? And so these methods are the things that answer the question, how do programmers interface with these objects, and how do they interface with each other if they need to interface with each other? Okay, so we start then designing our algorithms for these things, and as we do that, then we might add any helper methods that are needed. So this change direction and speed, for instance, wasn't in our previous list, but due to or in the process of designing our algorithms, maybe we found that we need this method. And so those are helper methods that aren't really part of the interface, but are required for this to get its job done. Now we have our client program, which needs designing. And so this is more like the design that we had for the solo pong. This is designing with methods, right? So we're designing our mosh pit, breaking it up into setup and draw. And setup we'll call a create dudes method, draw we'll call a get level method. Okay, and then we can come up with the associated UML class diagram for the client program. Okay, again, the fields that it needs, the methods that it needs. Note that just like or very similar to our song example at the beginning of this chapter, we're going to have an array of these dude objects that represent all the people in the mosh pit. And then our next step will be to talk about how to go about implementing these things. And so that will be in our next brief video.